Have you ever found yourself red-faced, gripping your stomach, or blaming the dog because of a fart that was so surreptitious, so loud, or just plain foul? Perhaps it's the explosive machine gun burst that catches everyone off guard, the sulfurous odor that lingers like an unwanted visitor, or the quiet, painful puff that comes in waves. We've all been there, ladies, and now is the moment to discuss it openly and honestly. These are not merely uncomfortable situations, they are your body's warning signs, and if you ignore them, you may be missing something important. We're delving deeply into what those farts, whether they're loud, smelly, or covert, might be telling you about your health in this video, covering everything from diet changes to warning signs like IBS or even colon cancer. We're going to share doable actions you can start immediately to listen to your body, take control of your health, and live with confidence, no shame necessary, so you'll want to watch through to the finish. I would like it before we start. You can support me in sharing the important lessons of old age if you enjoy this video. To ensure you don't miss any videos, I advise you to subscribe and turn on the bell if you haven't already. Please leave the first remark if you enjoy this video. Please let me know in the first remark if you don't like it, so I may improve the video for you. Let's get going now. 1. The lingering sulfur odor. Ladies, let's talk about that sneaky sulfurous stench that lingers in the air like an unwanted guest at a garden party. Let's be honest and straightforward. It's the kind of fart that hits you with a wallop of that thick, eye-watering rotten egg odor that could kill a room faster than a fire alarm. And you know exactly what I mean. You know the truth deep down, but it's the kind of stench that makes you want to throw open all the windows, burn a dozen scented candles, or accuse the dog, the grandchildren, or even that old couch that has been in the family since the Nixon administration. More importantly, you need to know what your body may be attempting to tell you when it releases these odorous criminals. You know exactly where that stench is coming from. That particular sulfurous odor, hydrogen sulfide, a gas created in the stomach during digestion, is typically the source of the one that seems to linger in the air like an unpleasant memory. Don't get me wrong, occasionally smelling bad is as common as forgetting where you parked at the grocery store. These perfumed eruptions are infamously caused by certain foods. Consider foods like eggs, cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, or those delicious sausages that were too good to pass up at the bowling club buffet. A toot that smells like it belongs in a chemistry lab can be produced even with red meat, beans, or a particularly decadent piece of garlic bread. These meals are rich in sulfur-containing substances, such as cysteine or methionine, which are converted to hydrogen sulfide by your gut microbes. When those sulfurous farts become frequent, say several times a day, and the stench is so strong that it could peel paint off the walls or cause your bridge club to rethink their seating arrangement, you need to wake up and pay attention. A little whiff here and there is no big deal. Your body is just doing its thing. A persistent, unpleasant-smelling gas that remains like an intruder may be your body's warning sign concerning there is a problem with your digestive system. When the stink becomes a persistent problem, doctors identify a few potential culprits, and it's important to know them so you can take control of your health. One possible explanation is malabsorption, which is the word used to describe your body's incorrect breakdown or absorption of nutrients from food. This can occur for a number of reasons. For example, increased gas production, frequently accompanied by that distinctive sulfur odor, might result from lactose intolerance, a condition in which your body finds it difficult to digest the sugar in dairy products. Lactose may be the cause if you've been enjoying ice cream or creamy casseroles and experience bloating, cramping, or diarrhea, in addition to the stench. Similar to this, celiac disease, an autoimmune disorder brought on by gluten, which is present in wheat, barley, and rye, can cause terrible gas in your stomach, diarrhea, and if untreated, even nutritional deficits. Another option is a gastrointestinal infection, such as giardiasis, which is brought on by a bothersome parasite that you may contract from tainted food or drink. It's not just about what you're eating or what's infecting your gut. However, this infection can induce nausea, exhaustion, and stomach discomfort, in addition to gas that smells like it belongs in a swamp. Sometimes the problem is deeper. Chronic illnesses like Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis or inflammatory bowel disease (IBD) can change how your gut breaks down food, resulting in increased gas production and that characteristic sulfurous smell. Even if it's unpleasant to consider, we must discuss the more dire scenarios. Rarely, especially in women over 60, persistent foul-smelling gas may be a warning sign of colorectal cancer, especially when combined with symptoms like blood in the stool, unexplained weight loss, or changes in bowel habits. This isn't meant to scare you, rather it's meant to educate you. One of the most prevalent malignancies in women is colorectal cancer, and early detection can save lives. I understand what you're thinking though, it's only gas. Why make a big deal out of the fact that everyone farts? You're not incorrect either. Farting is a normal human behavior. The average person passes gas 5 to 15 times a day. Most of the time it is not harmful, but too many of us, especially women of a certain age, We're brought up to be polite and to keep our bodies, especially the less glamorous ones, under wraps. We were taught not to notice anything as unladylike as a fart, to ignore the signals our bodies give us, and to cover up our pain with a smile. Ladies, I'm here to inform you that we don't have time for that kind of crap at this point in our lives. Whether it's a sulfurous stench, bloating that makes your jeans seem like a torture device, or bowel movements that don't feel right, your body is an amazing machine, and when it begins to tell you something, it's time to pay attention. Let me share a story with you about my good friend Margaret, who spent years learning how to pay attention. At our weekly book club, Margaret would laugh it off as just a sensitive stomach and blame it on her famous chili recipe or the occasional glass of milk. However, after a while, her house started to smell like a sulfur mine, and her husband, bless him, finally convinced her to see a doctor. She was diagnosed with small intestine bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, a disorder in which, if left untreated, SIBO could have resulted in nutrient deficiencies or even more serious complications. But with a course of antibiotics, a few dietary changes like reducing fermentable carbohydrates, and a daily probiotic, an overabundance of gut bacteria was fermenting food in her small intestine, producing excessive gas with that telltale rotten egg smell. When your farts are knocking people out like tear gas, what should you do? Margaret was back to her lively self. She felt better than she had in years, and her living room no longer smelled like a chemical spill. First, start by maintaining a basic food and symptom diary for a week or two. Don't just grab the air freshener or try to blame the cat for it. When you see the gas and any additional symptoms such as bloating, diarrhea, or abdominal pain, note what you consume. This can assist you in identifying trends. The new high-fiber smoothie might be the cause, or it might be dairy or gluten. Next, think about changing your nutrition. Reducing consumption of foods high in sulfur, such as meat, eggs, and cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, and cabbage. Brussels sprouts could be beneficial. Try switching from conventional milk to lactose-free or plant-based alternatives if you think you may have lactose intolerance. Your gut bacteria can also be balanced by include fermented foods like kefir or yogurt, or by taking a probiotic supplement, lowering gas production. But if the issue continues, for example, after a few weeks of dietary modifications, you're still experiencing frequent foul-smelling gas, or if you notice other warning signs such as unexplained weight loss, blood in your stool, or persistent diarrhea, it's time to see your doctor. Doctors have heard it all and are there to help, not to pass judgment, so don't allow embarrassment stop you. Particularly if you are over 50 or have a family history of colorectal problems, they may suggest testing such as a stool test to screen for infections or malabsorption, a breath test for SIBO or lactose intolerance, or even a colonoscopy to rule out more serious disorders. If you're due for a colorectal cancer screening, now is an excellent time to arrange one, because the American Cancer Society encourages routine screenings beginning at age 45. The main line is that your body is communicating with you, and those sulfurous farts may be an attempt to get your attention. Don't be embarrassed or disregarded. Take responsibility for your health, be proactive, and be knowledgeable. You've earned the right to be happy, to live life to the fullest, and to enjoy each day without having to worry about cleaning out your room. Therefore, don't dismiss or blame the dog the next time you smell rotting eggs. Pay attention to your body and treat it with the respect it requires. Ladies, you can do this. To let me know that you are continuing viewing this video with me and that you are finding these teachings helpful, please leave the first remark below. I appreciate your precious time. The second is the loud, powerful fart of the machine gun. Let's now discuss the type that shakes the furniture but doesn't contaminate the space. The one that accumulates gradually, Suddenly, like a trumpet solo, it bursts into a loud, startling, and occasionally rapid-fire succession like a machine gun when you're sitting in church or enjoying a calm supper. It didn't even happen because of you. You sound like you're starting a Harley-Davidson one moment and then you're drinking tea the next. Although noisy gas isn't always harmful on its own, when it develops frequent, like several times a day, especially after meals, and accompanied by a bubbling or cramping sensation in your gut, doctors say that could indicate something more serious. These explosive gas explosions are often caused by excessive fermentation in the gut, which isn't just about eating too many beans or Brussels sprouts. For example, lactose intolerance is more common as we age, even for those of us who used to drink milk straight from the bottle as children. Gluten sensitivity can also develop over time, and the culprit is frequently a condition known as SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which means the wrong bacteria are gathering in the wrong place and producing excessive gas. In addition to being noisy, these farts frequently cause bloating, irregular bowel movements, and the sensation that your stomach is a balloon about to burst. You will understand if you have ever had to unbutton your slacks in order to breathe during a meal. The tricky part is that we often dismiss it with a laugh, saying things like, "Oh, I just have a gassy tummy," or "That's what I got for eating cabbage." However, when those explosive sounds start to occur frequently And especially if they're accompanied by abdominal pain or urgency, it's time to stop laughing and start looking into it. I can just say this from one woman to another. When your body is acting up, we check our blood pressure, take our vitamins, and get mammogs. Why wouldn't we take our digestion seriously as well? The next time your rear end sounds like a jazz percussionist, don't just laugh and move on. Maintain a food diary, see a dietitian, and if your digestive issues are more bothering you than your grandchildren, it might be time to speak with your general practitioner. 3. The quiet but abrupt cramps and gas. Let's discuss the kind of fart that surprises you by coming as a complete surprise, the quiet, covert variety that emerges without a rumble, a sound, or even a fragrance to alert you. You're waiting in line at the grocery store, drinking tea, or conversing with a friend when all of a sudden your insides twist like someone wringing out a damp dishcloth, and a wave of gas escapes so softly that you almost wonder if it even happened. Then comes the cramp, a sudden twisted ache that travels through your abdomen, making you clutch your stomach or double over, wondering what has just caught you off guard. This isn't a harmless windstorm. Rather, it's a stealth attack that can leave you feeling shaken, ashamed, and to be honest, a bit afraid. These painful yet quiet gas attacks can be more than simply an uncomfortable moment. They may be a warning sign that is desperately trying to get your attention. It's time to think that something more serious might be going on if you're having gas frequently together with intense crampy discomfort, or if you suddenly feel an urgent pressure that makes you run to the bathroom. The irritable bowel syndrome is among the most frequent offenders. The large intestine is impacted by the chronic illness known as IBS, which can seriously impair your quality of life. IBS is a complex illness that can cause a variety of symptoms, such as bloating and irregular bowel patterns. It is not just a fancy term for a stomachache. One day you have diarrhea and those sudden harsh waves of gas, then the following day you're constipated. That tends to happen suddenly. IBS affects up to 15% of adults globally, and more women than men are diagnosed with illness. Regretfully, when women, particularly older women, mention digestive issues, they are frequently written off as though stomach pain is a natural part of aging. That's absurd, and you're worthy of better. Numerous things such as food, hormonal changes, and perhaps surprisingly, stress and worry can cause these quiet, crampy gas episodes. There is a strong and genuine gut-brain link. Millions of nerve cells that line your digestive tract connect directly to your brain, creating what is sometimes referred to as the second brain. Your gut frequently serves as the stage for the tension that your body holds while you're under stress, whether it's related to your family, finances, or health. To demonstrate this, let me tell you a personal anecdote. My husband had a major health scare a few years ago, which caused me to go through a very trying time. I was a bundle of nerves balancing his doctor's appointments, running the household, and trying to be strong for our children. Like clockwork, I would get a deep twisting cramp in my lower abdomen every evening, followed by a silent gas discharge that temporarily relieved my discomfort, but left me feeling puzzled and uneasy. Did I eat something? Was I being deceived by my body? I didn't know that my stress was actually clenching my gut and causing symptoms similar to IBS until I saw a gastroenterologist. According to the doctor, stress can cause unpleasant covert gas episodes by slowing digestion, increasing gut sensitivity, and even changing the balance of microorganisms in your intestines. Here are some things you should know if you're experiencing these painful yet silent farts. Keep a record of your symptoms. To help your doctor identify the cause, start a notebook in which you record when these episodes happen, what you eat, how stressed you are, and any additional symptoms you may be experiencing, such as bloating, diarrhea, or constipation patterns. For instance, some people may have symptoms of IBS when they consume foods high in FODMAPs, such as wheat, garlic, or onions, or dairy products or beans. Since stress can make digestive problems worse, think about managing your stress. Incorporate relaxation methods such as yoga, meditation, or deep breathing. Walking for even 5 minutes might assist relax your nervous system and, consequently, your stomach. Dietary modifications. To find possible trigger foods, consult a nutritionist. It has been demonstrated that many patients with IBS benefit from a low FODMAP diet, which lowers several difficult-to-digest carbohydrates. Gas accumulation can also be decreased by avoiding carbonated beverages and artificial sweeteners like sorbitol. Consult an expert. Don't be afraid to see a gastroenterologist if these events are bothering you or are occurring frequently. To rule out other illnesses including small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, celiac disease, or inflammatory bowel disease, they could suggest testing like a colonoscopy, stool analysis, or breath tests. Prescription drugs like antispasmodics or low-dose antidepressants to reduce gut sensitivity and over-the-counter solutions like Cithicon for gas are examples of IBD medications and therapies. Cognitive behavioral treatment. The stress element can also be managed with the aid of CBT. Bottom line, These cramping, quiet gas episodes are your body's way of telling you to pay attention. Don't ignore them or allow shame to prevent you from getting assistance. You should not have to worry about when your next cramp will occur or if you will be caught off guard in public. Consult a physician, monitor your symptoms, and take charge of your digestive well-being. Your physical and mental well-being will appreciate it. Please leave a comment in the second section below to let me know if you are still viewing this video and finding these teachings helpful. I appreciate you taking the time to leak in. The unsettling murmur of incontinence was no longer present. The faint, barely perceptible puff of gas that escapes without warning and leaves you horrified when you realize it's happened. Sometimes because someone else noticed first, or worse because you feel a tiny bit of warmth or dampness where it shouldn't be, is something that's even more difficult to discuss. This isn't your typical fart that you may dismiss or attribute to the dog. This disease is known as gas incontinence, and let's face it, it's embarrassing when your body leaks gas without your knowledge or control. Nobody hates to acknowledge that they have been snubbed, but since we are mature ladies, it is time to speak up and confront this issue. Contrary to popular belief, gas incontinence is increasingly common as people age. It is frequently associated with pelvic floor dysfunction, which can be brought on by a number of different life events. Connective tissues can be weakened by childbirth, pelvic procedures such as hysterectomies, heavy lifting, extended sitting or standing, and hormonal changes that occur during menopause. A collection of muscles and tissues known as the pelvic floor supports your bladder, rectum, and other pelvic organs like a sling. You may lose the ability to detect or regulate gas release as these muscles weaken, which could result in those sudden quiet leaks, but it's not only weak muscles. Additionally, gas incontinence may indicate more serious underlying problems. In certain situations, it may be more difficult to detect when gas is ready to escape due to nerve damage caused by diseases like diabetes, multiple sclerosis, or even spinal injuries. Rectal prolapse, in which a portion of the rectum slides out of position, or anal sphincter dysfunction, in which the muscles controlling the anus fail to seal correctly, can also cause gas incontinence. Stool leaking, trouble cleaning up after a bowel movement, or a feeling of incomplete evacuation could all be signs of the same problem. I once knew Eleanor, a lively 68-year-old who loved caring for her garden and organizing her weekly garden club meetings. However, she gradually began to distance herself from these events, citing her busy schedule as an excuse. It wasn't until we had a heart-to-heart that she revealed her fear of gas escaping unnoticed, particularly after a few embarrassing events at social gatherings. The embarrassment was destroying her confidence, and she had begun to avoid the things she loved. It was heartbreaking to watch her turn away from her passions. Fortunately, after confiding in her physician, she found that there were answers: dietary adjustments, pelvic floor physical therapy, and even she was able to restore confidence and control thanks to the drugs she took. Here are some things you can do. See a specialist if you have gas incontinence. Start with your gastroenterologist or primary care physician, but don't be shocked if they recommend a pelvic floor specialist or a colorectal surgeon. They might use imaging to look for structural problems like prolapse or anorectal manometry to gauge sphincter strength. Pelvic floor therapy. To strengthen your pelvic floor, a physical therapist with training in pelvic health can teach you movements like Kegels. Dietary adjustments and feedback therapy, which retrains your muscles using sensors, can also be very beneficial. Leaks are more prone to occur when certain meals, such as beans, broccoli, or carbonated drinks, boost gas production. You can reduce gas while maintaining nutrition, medications, and devices by identifying triggers and developing a strategy with the assistance of a dietitian. Certain drugs, such as loperamide, can help control bowel motions and lessen urgency in extreme situations. Lifestyle change includes surgical procedures, such as sacral nerve stimulation or sphincter restoration. When having bowel motions, refrain from straining as this can further damage the pelvic floor. Drink plenty of water, consume fiber to avoid constipation, and think about scheduling bathroom breaks to ease rectum pressure. Assistance for mental health. Your mental health may suffer as a result of the shame associated with gas incontinence, which may result in social isolation or worry. Joining a support group or speaking with a therapist can help you deal with the situation and regain your confidence. The most crucial thing to understand is that you're not alone, and that you don't have to endure humiliation or silence. You don't have to put up with gas incontinence. It's not your fault. Treatments are available. Treatments and methods that have the potential to truly change. Please get help if you're tensing up every time you stand, bend over, or laugh, because you're afraid something might fall out. You have the right to live fearlessly, confidently, and completely in the life you love. Consult a physician, consider your options, and start the process of regaining your independence. I sincerely appreciate you joining me for this candid and enlightening discussion on our bodies and those unforeseen situations that take us by surprise. I hope you have gained some knowledge about paying attention to your body's cues. Whether it is the unsettling whisper of gas incontinence, the silent pains, the deafening machine gun blasts, or the sulfurous stench, If you think this video was helpful, please leave a comment below and remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more straightforward health talks. These aren't just embarrassing moments, they're your body's way of asking for attention, and you deserve to feel confident and in control. I'd love to hear what you've learned from this video that you're going to implement in your life, whether it's keeping a food diary, trying a new relaxation technique, or scheduling that doctor's appointment you've been putting off. Until the next time, let's continue this discussion and encourage one another to lead the healthiest, most fulfilling lives possible. You're capable. Look for yourself,